Hello, I'm Adrian Bailey. I'm Member of Parliament for West Bromwich West and Chair of the Business, Innovation and Skills Select Committee in the House of Commons.
I'm Caroline Dinage, a Member of Parliament for Gosport. With Adrian, I'm one of the 11 members of the Business, Innovation and Skills Select Committee in the House of Commons.
Our job is to scrutinise the government's work connected with business, with innovation and with skills. As well as a published written report, this short video will tell you what we learned and what we think the government should do to encourage adults to improve their skills in reading and writing.
In our inquiry into adult literacy and numeracy, we were very keen to explore why some adults have low levels of literacy and numeracy, what motivates adults to seek to improve their skills, and what more the government can do to help improve standards in reading, writing and maths for adults across the country.
Problems with reading, writing and maths affect everybody and can have a huge impact on their daily lives. It can affect your chance of getting a job, finding a home, understanding bills and forms and documents that you receive, and guiding children through education. It can affect adults in many walks of life, but also, above all, undermines the economic performance of the country as well.
We received a lot of evidence from learners themselves, and we were really grateful to them for their contributions. An adult learner from Leicester College sent in audio-visual evidence, and she told us why she chose to start taking English and maths classes.
But I've always had this anchoring to get my maths and my English and prove that I can actually do it, because I've always been treated as if I'm stupid, and I don't want to be treated as if I'm stupid anymore. I want to be able to say, well, I can do the maths, and already I can do mental maths, you know, in my head a lot better. I'm a lot quicker at maths. Before I would just keep my mouth shut. I wouldn't involve myself in any sums or anything because I didn't want to show myself up.
In a report published in autumn 2013, covering 150,000 people from 24 different countries, England ranked 22nd out of the 24 in literacy and 21st in numeracy. This is just not good enough. The government is conducting research on how adults best learn English and maths. We want it to publish the timetable for this research and say what action will be taken as a result.
We heard from the government that it is hard to get the message across that there is free help, training and guidance out there to help people improve their skills. Mohammed, a learner from Leicester College, made the following suggestion.
This information was made available in community centres, churches, mosques, and doctor surgeries, where people go, or even supermarkets. And if people could see it, and then they are motivated to find out further information, I think that will help.
We recommend that the government starts a high-profile national campaign to let adults of any age know that they can study English and maths to GCSE level for free. It must also guide adults to the most appropriate help available, either voluntary schemes or formal classes.
The type of provision depends on each adult, and whatever style of learning helps them to develop their literacy and numeracy skills. We heard from a learner at St Mungo's Broadway that said that the best approach was a flexible approach with a range of different programs to suit the needs of different individuals.
I feel I need, and in general people need, sustained support from all services working together with lots of different models. Failure is part of the journey, that you have to understand that being a punitive system does not incentivise. You need a system with constructive, sympathetic support.
We believe that English and maths programmes must be flexible enough to cater for the needs of every adult and government funding should be equally flexible.
We heard from Karen Adrianza, an Ofsted inspector, about the variable standards of English and maths tuition for adults.
We do have some excellent examples of purposeful, stimulating and inspirational teaching and learning that works. On the other hand, when learning is dull, where it demotivates, then it doesn't help anybody at all, and it's not good use of public funds either.
We discovered that the best schemes are actually not limited to any one sector or type of provider or organisation. We recommend that the government ensures that the overall standard of adult literacy and numeracy is improved. We also recommend that government funding is flexible enough to support both voluntary organisations and formal-based classes.
There are many adults who are actually very capable at literacy but find maths extremely difficult. And somehow they think that if you're good at reading and writing, that numbers don't matter. In fact, they're both essential skills. We recommend that the government support schemes that promotes maths skills and challenge the idea that numeracy is somehow less important than literacy.
Caroline, an adult learner from Leicester College, really hit the nail on the head when she described the problem of both getting skills and getting a job.
A job, yeah, you need a job to live, but you also need an education to get the job.
Yeah.
We heard from people and organisations that there is often no proper assessment of claimants' needs at job centres, and we feel strongly that this is inexcusable and must change. So we make a number of recommendations to help unemployed people. There should be better coordination between different government departments and other organisations to ensure that proper assessments of basic needs in skills at the earliest possible stage of unemployment benefit claims. We also need better links between the adult learning sector and the Department of Work and Pensions to ensure that unemployed adults have the best possible opportunities to develop their skills. Job centres should develop a more consistent way of assessing claimants in order to understand the skill support needed to get a job. Assessments should be regularly updated for long-term claimants, with their details being passed on to the work programme and other contracted providers if claimants are referred on. The government has a pilot scheme where claimants who are 18 to 21 years old and don't have certificates of their qualifications have specific assessments of their skills. This scheme, if successful, should be extended to all claimants, whatever their age.
According to Ofsted, employers are still struggling to find staff with suitable literacy and numeracy skills. Equally, there are many working adults who find it hard to keep their jobs because of their limited grasp of both numeracy and literacy. Union Learn supports both employers and employees in the workplace, and over the last 10 years has improved the skills of over 1.2 million employees. While the government supports the work, it has recently cut funding for Union Learn. And so our next recommendation states, Union Learn plays an important role in helping adults to gain literacy and numeracy skills, but its government funding support is being cut by £2.5 million, and we urge the government to reverse its decision.
We were really impressed by the work of the Army to help recruits raise their literacy and numeracy skills. Here's Brigadier Gary Morris, who told us more about their scheme.
It's a really practical way of getting adults to learn literacy and numeracy because it embeds this in the workplace. It's making them practically apply what they're doing. And I think that's the key. It makes it tangible and real to them. So whether they're an infantryman or a signaller or a gunner, they have to apply what they're learning in those subjects to real life problems that can be contextualised for their workplace.
So here's another recommendation. The government should study the Army's proven record of delivering adult education in literacy and numeracy and promote examples of the best practice to other government-funded initiatives.
The take-up of English and maths learning is very, very low amongst prisoners compared with the level of need assessed when they are first sent to prisons. We heard from one prisoner at Leicester Prison who described the negative effects of being forced into attending prison classes.
Because you know you can read and write, yeah, you've gone upstairs, done the test and probably failed on it. On the finger, but it don't mean you should be stuck in a class where you don't want to be. You should have an option to be in a class where you want to be.
We have 3 recommendations connected with prisons. There needs to be more linked up work between training and the prison system itself, with clearer accountability for the quality of English and maths provision within the prison. Prison courses must be flexible enough to ensure that prisoners take their hours of literacy and numeracy work with them to other prisons. The funding of courses for prisoners should be linked to the prisoner, not the prison. All prison libraries should be open as much as possible and over the weekend.
There are many problems faced by homeless men and women, many of whom find it hard to access formal literacy and numeracy training. We had oral evidence from one of the learners from St Mungo's Broadway. This is what she said about her experiences.
I was fostered as a child and told I was stupid and chaotic, which I believed. I didn't spend much time in school, so I didn't improve my literacy. I had no self-esteem or confidence, and I'm starting to build on this now. Because of my bad literacy, I lost my home. Because I couldn't fill in housing benefit forms, I didn't know what it was, so I put it in a drawer. I didn't know whether or where to find support to help me. We were then evicted, and I ended up living on the street. I now attend St Mungo's Broadway Recovery College. I completed courses such as self-esteem, IT and assertiveness. This has improved my confidence and self-esteem, and I'm now improving my literacy. This is because it is flexible. The clients and tutors there to help others, and we're not embarrassed to do so. I can now complete forms, and my hope for the future is to help people in the care sector.
The government is currently running a pilot project called Strive, which is helping 50 homeless people to develop their literacy, numeracy and IT skills. We recommend that this pilot project is really closely followed and, if proven to be a success, should be rolled out nationwide.
We were really impressed with the many and varied initiatives that help adults within the community to gain skills. One example is the Out There project. Di told us about the funding uncertainty.
Our Out There project is actually subject to bid funding, so that we get funding. We had funding for the first 3 years of that project, but then had to, although the project was clearly successful, had to rebid for funding, so that in terms of employing good, well-qualified staff who are able to teach on the courses that we're offering, particularly the literacy and numeracy qualifications, actually employing people on what are fixed-term contracts, because we're not sure whether the funding is going to come through for the following year, is actually very difficult to make sure that we get the right people and are able to offer to our community a continuity of those courses going forward.
The government should not make successful providers of adult literacy and numeracy courses have to rebid for funding.
Family learning programmes involve both children and adult family members, helping them to learn and become more confident. We heard from the Robin Hood School in Nottingham, where head teacher Andrew Sharp explained how family learning programmes were helping both children and adults in their area.
Well, family learning on the whole school, well, I think there's now increased parental participation and engagement within school. So things like Parents' Evening are better attended, things like our open evenings are better attended and people want to come. I think there's an open door policy now where parents don't feel afraid to come in and ask questions and ask questions of their child's learning.
So this is our recommendation. So the government must commit to the long-term funding of family learning schemes and must set out in their response how this funding will be provided.
If the government's going to be more successful in raising the levels of adult numeracy and literacy skills, we need the activities of the different government departments involved to be more joined up. Libby Goldman told us,
we need to be brought together to work together in order to crack this incredibly intractable nut. And we also need to tackle this within communities. And I must emphasise that that's never going to happen unless we've got somebody very high up in government who makes that happen.
The government needs to ensure that the work between the different relevant government departments is better coordinated, and a civil servant in each department should act as a champion for adult literacy. The minister should be given more formal powers to intervene in those departments on matters of adult literacy and numeracy if closer collaboration is not achieved. There's no silver bullet to solve the issue of adult literacy and numeracy. It is complicated because of the range of people involved, young and old, in and out of work, who've had different experiences and have different needs. There are many fantastic examples of effective programs, and we praise the dedication of those involved, whether learning, helping, or teaching. We believe that if the government acts on our recommendations, the changes will make a huge difference to the provision of adult learning and to people's lives. We look forward to hearing from the government within 2 months and hope that they will produce a video like this in response.